Your body is the most powerful manifestation tool you have, and nobody ever told you how to use it. They usually tell you about shift your feelings, your state, but they never get to practice until this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Cosimo. I'm a rewiring brain coach and I'm so excited to have you here. I rewired over 80,000 people's brain to more success, to manifest faster than before. And thanks to the same techniques, I was able to partner with Tony Robbins and Neil Graziosi's Mastermind.com. I did a TED Talk. I founded 2 successful businesses, and this is my way to give back. In this channel, you're gonna find things that are very tangible to hack your brain, to rewire, to achieve more success, and to manifest ever before. So let's start. Let's get to the meat. Shifting your energy by using your body. So if you're driving, you don't think you can do this, but you can listen to it. But if you're in your office or if you're at home or whatever it is, try to do this with me. Think about something that's negative. I know, follow me. Something that's negative, something that's bad, something that happened to you, a problem. Now, as you're thinking of it, put your focus on how your body reacts. So see your posture, feel your breath. And then I want to ask you this, stand up, hold that thought. The thought may be, there is this problem, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, no matter what I do, I don't have enough, whatever. Hold that thought. Now I ask you to look up, and I ask you now to start jumping. Hold the thought, okay? Now start clapping, and now start smiling. Hold the thought, hold the thought. Now, what really happened is you couldn't hold the thought if we did this for another 10 seconds. I don't think it was possible for you to hold it also in this moment. Why? Because you notice that every emotion we have, it's equal to a different posture our body takes. In other words, emotions and body, they are connected together in the same system. So if you use your body to influence your emotions, now you can be empowered and controlling better and managing better your emotions. This is not a coincidence, it's neuroscience, because your body and your emotions are part of the same system. So in those 10 seconds you were jumping, you shifted your energy. So you were on a different frequency. And if this frequency was exactly what you wanted, you were basically changing already your reality. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how to live in the frequency you really want, practically. So you don't need to wait for your results to come, but they are gonna find you in a way that you least expect. To explain this to you, I'm gonna tell you Marco's story. I'm not gonna use the real name of my client, but I'm gonna use the name of Marco. And he's an executive, and he was 44 years old when I met him. He had 2 kids, 2 successful businesses. He was an executive in a big corporation. He had a wife he really loved, and his wife loved him so much. But he was having this heavy feeling inside of himself, feeling behind. And he was trying to get out of that state when actually he understood that to get out, he needed to start feeling forward, something different. And so when I'm going to tell you that story, maybe Marco's story is also your story too. And I think this story will shift the way you see reality ever again. So now, why most people get really stuck? Because most people try to approach what they want like this. They see the gap between where they're at and where they want to be. And they start focusing not on where they want to be, but on the gap, on the distance, on the lack of what they don't have right now. This makes them feel not good enough, not enough. No matter what they do, it's never enough. Here's the point. What you're focusing on the most, your energy is going to, and it's creating more of that. That's a quantum manifestation principle. It responds to your energy. Here's the point. They start thinking like, I want to stop this. And so to stop it, they start get busier, or they start repressing it, or they start pushing through, or they just tell themselves, don't think about it. And here's the point. When you repress something that's an emotion, so energy in motion, it's still there. You didn't delete it. You're not neutral anymore. You just pressed it, compressed it, And that emotion is still signaling in the quantum field to attract more of what you're trying to not to feel. It's attracting more of what you're not trying not to feel. Therefore, they try not to think about lack, but that's exactly what they're creating because they are focusing on the lack. So now, what's the solution? The solution is not affirmation, is not visualizing harder, and by the way, when you think about doing something harder, that's not manifestation, because manifestation, the solution is to change your state, change your feelings. And most of the people, they try to change their state by overthinking about it, by thinking and pushing through with their thoughts. But with your thoughts and with your level of mind, you can't break through that feeling. You must do something else. And in this case, you're going to use another tool, your body, because you always have control on your body. So in that moment you start focusing on lack, the quantum field answers not to your thoughts, not to you shouting, this must change, I want more abundance, I want more money, I want the perfect relationship, I want someone to love. The quantum field doesn't care what you're talking about. It cares about your state, your freaking state. So you need to change your state. You have to change the energy inside of you, broadcasting into the quantum field. And this is exactly what Marco learned the hard way. As I told you, he was 44. He had 2 beautiful kids, a wife he loved and she loved him. He had a dream home. He was owner of 2 businesses. He was the top executive of a big corporation. So on paper, his life was perfect. Outside, everybody was looking up to him. But what he told me when we met, he said, despite what everybody thinks, the morning when I wake up, I feel this heaviness in myself. I don't understand how to explain it. He couldn't explain it actually. And he said, the only way I can tell you is I feel like behind, that I'm not good enough, that I'm not enough. And he explained further and he said, and then I go to my meetings and I'm not as energetic as before. My businesses right now, they're not doing really good. I feel the distance with me and my kids. They demand more attention. I don't have enough time because I'm focusing so much on work. My wife, we argue every other night. It seems like I can't hold it anymore. And he said, for years, I've been trying to put this feeling aside and repress it. It went underground, but it seems like underground, this feeling was running all my life, my decisions, my relationships. I don't know what to do. Now, guys, in that moment when he was telling me this story, besides what I'm going to tell you right now, we used different rewiring techniques to understand his values, to understand his connections in brain, past, family, and everything. I'm going to cut that part right now for the video, but I'm going to tell you what I asked him at some point. I said, interesting. And I want to ask you this question. When was the last time you felt genuinely excited? And he told me that you went on a trip one month before to Italy, and he said it was like a lifetime dream he wanted to accomplish. It was the first time going abroad in another country, and he couldn't wait to taste the food. And I'm Italian, so I love Italy, and I know what he's talking about. And he said that was really, really exciting, that at some point he was waiting and counting down the time to get to the trip, to enjoy with his family finally, to enjoy the relationship with his kids and with his wife. So his face really changed as he was thinking about it. Now I said, interesting, because you didn't feel this excitement just when the trip arrived, but you were anticipating this emotion even before the trip arrived. And so I said, tell me, how were your business going? How was your job going? He said, I was a top executive in that moment. My business were going great. I really felt happy. And I thought things were going better now. And after the vacation, it would have been even better. But then I came back to the same problems. I started thinking that I maybe should have changed my position, that I maybe was not doing enough. I was really feeling I was not giving enough time to my kids again and my wife and all of that. So What happened basically? That your vacation didn't change, but there is one thing you're not considering. The fact you could anticipate that emotion before the trip arrived. So why don't you apply the same thing on your finances? Why don't you apply the same things on the things you want to achieve in your life? So you don't need to wait for $1 million to come into your life to feel super happy. Because the truth is, there is nobody out there that's gonna find you with $1 million to give. And so if you stay on that mindset that things has to change outside for you to change inside, you will wait. And that wait will give you the excuse to feel in a certain way that you don't have it, to feel in lack. And so here is a point. If something is making you feel in a certain way, you're a victim too. So let's start anticipating the emotion of what you really want to have in your life. And so let's start feeling, how would you feel if in 2 weeks instead of a trip, you know you're gonna get $1 million? How would you live every single day of your life from now on? And he told me, well, I will be excited. I will also not sleep at night like I did with the trip in Italy. I would feel very enthusiastic about my life, in love with my life. This is what I'm talking about. Your quantum field. So this quantum field reacts to your energy, to your state. Your energy has to change right now inside of you. Well, the first time I told him this, he looked at me like I was crazy. He wasn't wrong about it because I'm crazy in love with this stuff. Anyways, I'll tell you now 3 shifts he did to change everything. Number 1. Start with your body, not with your mind. Your mind is gonna look at reality and say, in your bank account, there is not $1 million. Your businesses are failing. Your numbers are not there. Your wife doesn't love you anymore. Your kids want to have more attention. You don't have time for that. You don't have enough time. You're behind. You're not exactly who you would need to be at this time in your life. So it's going to look at reality and give you all those thoughts. And to pass through all those thoughts, it requires a lot of energy. That's why you may feel exhausted by the end of the day, because those thoughts are wiring and firing in your brain without giving you peace. But here's the point. You have control over your body. If you want to lift a hand right now, you can. So in that moment, instead of resigning to those firing and wiring programs, you decide to do this. I told him, you start moving your body. You go to the bathroom, and the moment you make that thought, if you're in the office, go to the bathroom. If you are in your house, go into a room that nobody can talk to you. Every time you make that thought, start jumping. Start doing what's called a power move. I'm not gonna explain to you right now what it is, but you have to shake your body in a so powerful way that your body is gonna think, that's not the posture that we usually have when we think about problems. So he told me, Cosimo, every time I woke up in the morning, instead of sipping my coffee and taking my car and going to work, I start like moving my body, start working out a little bit more. I did maybe 10 minutes. It was not that crazy, but I did it. And I can tell you that moving my body as soon as I woke up, it was the best thing I could do. So he's in the car listening to the music of the person he wants to be, of the version of he wants to be. And that put him in a wonderful state of mind. So now we go to the second thing. So the fact his brain, every time he had a negative thought, he didn't resign to the posture his brain had. He actually went to the bathroom and shook his body and started jumping and laughing and smiling. Yes, he was crazy, but his brain was connecting that this is not the pathway we want to achieve. This is not the pathway we want to follow. But every time I have this, actually he wants to feel happy, energetic, and joyful, and all of those things. And so the more he was doing this, the less he was getting and resigning to the program of victim. Second shift. Find your countdown feeling. I told him, if in 2 weeks you're gonna receive $1 million, if in 2 weeks you have the trip to go to Italy, if in 2 weeks the biggest opportunity is happening in your life, how would you live those 2 weeks? What's the anticipation of the feeling of having that? And he said, that would be crazy. I would feel like so excited that overwhelmed by gratitude and love. And I said, Do it. So he chose that for him, the most important feeling was freedom, love for life. And he dedicated 5 minutes in the morning to feel that. In the car, listening to the music, he made himself space to feel that. So that's what it means, find your countdown feeling, that you can't wait that thing to happen. And number 3 is protect your frequency. The truth is that we are not perfect, but we can always put perfect effort in achieving what we want. And the effort comes from the desire for you to change your life. Because the manifestation journey is not something that only gets you things, but it's something that shifts you from the person you are to the person you really want to be. And if you know that's the goal, you cannot have your social media talking about anger, talking about fear, news that puts you down, and all of those things. So we look at this phone, and yeah, some comedian he was watching, awesome, but then the feed of Instagram and Facebook was giving him people angry at the counter, or people that were fighting, people that were arguing, and I said, that's not what you want to feed your brain with. If you're trying to change your energy, your environment has to change. You can start with things you have control over, and so your social media, then going to understand who are the people you want to be surrounded by. And so he did it. And I received a call 6 months after we were working together. He said, Cosimo, I have to call you. I cannot wait for the next session we have. So he called me and he said, something big really happened. And I cannot explain it, but here's what I want to say. First of all, I got promoted. They raised my income and I became one of the toppest of their executive in the company. But besides that, my 2 businesses are going so good that a past customer that I didn't think about for years called me out of the blue and said, I have a stage opportunity for you that it's waiting there. Would you like to come? And I'm so excited. So he was like, he couldn't keep his happiness inside. He needed to share that. He was living the person he wanted to be. Then he continues to say that with his wife, he's having so much fun. His kids love him more than before. He's really finding more time, and more time is showing up in his life. And he said, Cosimo, last thing. I think you're crazy, but this changed my life. And in the beginning, honestly, I didn't trust to do this, but I did it anyways. And here's the result. I'm so excited about it. The second thing I want to say is the same thing I really learned is that I stop waiting to change until things change, but I start changing and things start changing. And guys, to be honest with you, when I receive those calls, those messages, or read comments of people that have a breakthrough because they listened to a video or because we talked, it's something that fulfills my heart. I feel really on mission. I'm here to give back. I'm here for people to understand they have more power than they think they have. That they are more valuable than ever think they are. And that value is what the world is waiting for. It's waiting for your light to shine. It's waiting for your strength to show up in the world. And remember that it takes reshift. Start with your body. Find your countdown feeling. Protect your frequency. Become the version of who you want to be. There is no limit to do that. And comment below, what is a story you want to share with us that will inspire you first? And see you in the next video.